Okay, and Mayor, you could start.
Welcome everyone to the Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. Is there a motion to open the meeting? Trustee DeRozzi, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? The meeting is officially open. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
to the
republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The instructions for how to watch this meeting and participate in the meeting are part of our agenda and part of the website. I will just once again read those directions. Directions for remote participation in public meetings. Our statutory meetings will be conducted remotely during this pandemic crisis. You will be able to participate via Zoom, by internet, or by telephone. The videos can also be viewed after each meeting on YouTube and will be posted on the village website. If you have a comment, question, or concern which you would like to make, please email the village clerk by 3 o'clock on the Monday before the meeting. Be sure to include the meeting date and agenda item you would like to address. Comments should be sent to the village clerk at ldraper@dobbsferry.com. For public hearings, we will accept email comments in advance of the hearings. Please email the village clerk at ldraper@dobbsferry.com by 3 o'clock on the Monday before the meeting. For Zoom participants, we will also enable the option for participation to raise their hand and voice their concerns or questions. To log on to Zoom, visit the link provided in the agenda. Once connected to the meeting, you'll be auto-muted to prevent audio interference. When the meeting is about to start, click on that link and join the meeting. To join by phone, simply call the number indicated in the Zoom invitation for that particular meeting. You will be automatically muted when you are on the call. If you wish to make a statement or a comment, please email our village clerk by 3 o'clock on Monday before the meeting. If dialing in by phone, you may raise your hand by dialing 9. You may also unmute yourself by dialing *6. To watch on YouTube, go to www.youtube.com /Village of Dobbs Ferry. First item is a presentation. The presentation is by Ms. Teresa Williams and Ms. Betsy Lynn of the DFPTSA Safe Routes Committee. Are they here, Jen?
Yes, I'm just promoting them right now. Teresa, can you hear us?
I can. The presentation is Betsy and Jessica.
Betsy, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And Jessica is also on.
Jessica, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Great. My name is Betsy Lynn. I co-chair the PTSA Safe Routes Committee with Teresa Williams, and Jessica Pfluger is one of our committee members who's also here tonight to present. The PTSA Safe Routes Committee is committed to the safety and well-being of our village's school children and their families. We believe that working together, we can improve the safety of the Dobbs Ferry streets, reduce congestion, emissions, and maintain accessibility for first responders while preserving the unique character and quality of life we all enjoy. The goal of our presentation today is to start a series of conversations about the pedestrian safety issues in Dobbs Ferry. We look forward to working together to understand the village processes in order to make tangible change. As I'm sure you're all aware of, Dobbs Ferry has had 23 pedestrian injuries between 2012 and 2017. 5 pedestrian cyclist crashes in the 2018-19 school year alone, and tragically, 2 fatalities in 2016 and 2019. Our local village statistics are reflective of state and national trends. The traffic committee has shared the image, the graphic on the right in the past, but we want to reiterate how speed really dictates the outcomes of crashes. If we can go to the next slide. We hope that the village can support and move forward on initiatives already in process, particularly with regards to Route 9 in front of the middle and high schools. Route 9 is the issue we hear about most from parents as representatives of the PTSA. Parents and students don't feel safe crossing Broadway knowing the history of crashes on this stretch, particularly in the evenings. We have some parents who live close by who drive their kids to the middle school just so they don't have to cross Broadway. Crossing guards or a police presence are needed for evening events when children and families cross Broadway in the dark. We hope that village officials can put pressure on the state DOT to make needed changes, such as road narrowing, curb bump outs, better crossings, until the larger Route 9 active transportation plan can be implemented. We ask that the village work to pass the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit legislation, prioritizing speed reduction on cut-through streets frequented by student pedestrians. I'm going to hand it over to Jess now.
Thank you. So in addition to the initiatives that are already underway, our PTSA group receives lots of questions and concerns from parents on a regular basis. You can imagine we have a very long list of very specific concerns, and we tried to come up with a way to organize them and present more of a holistic picture of those issues so that we don't come to you and raise them on a case-by-case basis. So what we have done here is we organize the concerns we hear into 3 high-level categories with low effort measures that could be done sooner and at a lower cost if the village can agree to implement them. Examples are crosswalks or stop signs. There's even measures that are completely free, like increasing communication and education. Medium effort measures would require a little more money, planning, and time for implementation. And obviously physical changes to our current infrastructure like sidewalks or bus shelter would be more costly and take longer to implement. While we know that the mid and high effort actions can take more time and money, we would like to ask if there's a way that the village can get started on implementing some low effort actions sooner. And for your reference, we have included some very specific examples of the concerns that we hear in the appendix. And we have also taken the additional step to cluster those actions by the perceived impact, with obviously a higher impact is in areas with more traffic, both that more cars are posing more danger or if more pedestrians would have the benefit of such improvements. So again, this is an effort on our side to try and present the big picture as far as we're aware of the concerns in our community as the PTSA group. One of the reasons for doing this is not only that it might help to better prioritize actions, if you can see sort of all concerns at the same time, we were also wondering if it could present efficiencies and reduce costs. So for example, if we tackle those issues in clusters, like engage a grant writer only once, but for multiple issues. We know, for example, that our neighbor town Hastings was just awarded a community development block grant for $150,000. And they got this money for downtown streetscape improvements, and that includes new sidewalks. We thought maybe if we have to engage a traffic engineer, could we do this on multiple instances of crosswalks or multiple stop signs, potentially in a similar traffic pattern? And is there a way to apply solutions that worked once in a different place in another traffic situation? So just some thoughts we wanted to share. And as a summary for our presentation today, we would like to talk about specific action items on the left-hand side and next steps to the right of the page. Our first three suggestions on the left are related to the how. How can we make progress on the concerns that we hear? So under number one, we were wondering, how can we increase communication about traffic issues and collisions? Kind of similar to the police report in the enterprise or in the village newsletter. If I read about cars being broken into, I hopefully lock my car. If I read about collisions, then I hopefully will drive and walk more carefully, especially in those particular areas. Under number two, the good news is that many of the actions that we touch on in this presentation today are already part of official village plans and signed resolutions, like the Dobbs Ferry Climate Action Plan from 2018 and the Complete Streets Resolution from 2012. Our neighboring village Hastings, for example, uses their Complete Streets resolutions very specifically to plan their day-to-day work. Their committees use it to set agendas, to assess performance, to plan actions. They've also just updated the Complete Streets planning list in April 2020. And the mayor and the board of trustees also uses this list to assess like the accomplishments for the village every year. So therefore, we do believe that with the new village administrator coming on board, there's the opportunity to continue and chip away at those plans and check the boxes for the Dobbs Ferry action plans and resolutions, if this could be made a critical part of this administrator role. That would also help to provide more transparency. Just very honestly, one of the main questions that our group receives on a very regular basis from parents is, I don't understand, how does Dobbs Ferry manage the process for infrastructure updates? How does the village decide which actions to take and when and where to improve the safety of our children walking and biking to school? This is related to number three, because therefore we believe that it's critical that the village invests into a holistic vision for the pedestrian and bicycle improvements, actually invest the money for a townwide study to then guide planning and prioritize spending. The second set of asks here is obviously to push forward specific initiatives. Some of them we have already mentioned earlier. We did also include taking action at the Storm and Ashford intersection, which, as you all know, is a very critical crossing point for pedestrians in our village. And as the next steps, we as the Safe Roads group, we're willing to do our share. We would love to continue this discussion. We have today started to bring to your attention in the appendix pages some examples of low cost and low effort actions, which our group collected. And we would be happy to do a deeper dive on those very specific examples. We could do this either with this forum or a smaller working group. We would be taking the guidance from you on this. We would also love to come back later this year and talk about the efforts that would take a little more planning and a little more money, like sidewalks, for example. Our group has done and continues to do some research on what other municipalities do here, for example, for sidewalk funding, and we would love to share what we learned. Any questions, comments?
Sorry, I lost myself there. We certainly are very interested in the things that you raise, and we definitely want you guys to come back in a few months because I want to have an ongoing dialogue with you guys. And I think, to constantly be in front of us is really the way to keep this going forward, right? So we can plan that in a few months. I'm very interested in sidewalk funding, especially I think sidewalks make a big difference in the quality of life and safety. And as you can imagine, sidewalks cost a lot of money. So certainly if we can come up with ways of obtaining funding for sidewalks, I think the board as a whole is very interested in that. So sidewalk funding or grants that you have any ideas on. Some of the simple stuff, maybe we can, more signage, certainly awareness. We could put it in the village newsletter more often about what to do and the safety and how to keep mindful of people walking. And maybe we can do a small group meetings, subcommittees where you can meet with some of the trustees and go forward. I know, Donna, you've been very much involved in the traffic. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to this?
Only that, I mean, a lot of this stuff is stuff that we have obviously been looking at. I mean, I think it's quite obvious that the biggest concern is funding. As far as the Route 9, we are beginning that initiative again. We'll be reaching out to Teresa and the PTSA for support very shortly. We're in the process of engaging some of our elected officials, state and county, to help us with that, because I'm not going to go into it, but we were stalled. But anyway, so no, I think these are great ideas. There's things I know that the traffic committee has been looking at for years, and it's just a question of implementing a lot of these things.
Yeah. Any other trustees have anything to add to this? Okay, so I do want to keep the ball rolling.
Can we just check if Teresa has anything to add? Teresa's one of our.
Well, I just wanted to, if I could ask a question about the status of the complete streets, just so we're all on the same page in terms of where that is. My understanding is that Dobbs Ferry has adopted that resolution.
Yeah, we adopted it a few years ago. Yes.
Yeah. And so
the planning board does refer to it when there are developments, et cetera. As a matter of fact, and Ed, you can speak to this as well. One of the things that was implemented is that whenever a new house or new development is being done, they must put in sidewalks. So
That's correct. We have every new house, new building that goes for site plan in front of the planning board, or major renovation of an existing parcel, we pretty much make them put in new sidewalks. And, that's been evident for quite a few years now.
okay. Is there a to-do list related to the complete streets?
nothing I know of.
I don't think there is, and we should take a closer look at the complete streets planning, and maybe we can. You're saying that Hastings has like a list of things that they follow through from that?
They use it as a checklist.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I don't know if there's been any thought or if there's any potential for this walkable study, the pedestrian study, and a master plan, so that, as Jessica was saying, that we can kind of bundle some of these projects together and there can be economies of scale.
Well, we had put out an RFP for a master plan, and we did receive responses from that, but the doing the master plan again would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So at this stage, it's kind of been put on a shelf. But maybe we can take a look at some type of a study or a survey with regard to traffic in key areas. We also have a bid out, or we'll have one out shortly, for a new comprehensive engineering company, which would include a traffic engineer. So I think we have an opportunity there to have someone who would become familiar with the village as a whole and can offer us advice with regard to traffic. So there is an opportunity in the near future to have someone with that kind of expertise involved in the village planning.
Great.
Also, I just want to point out that the police chief has been keeping track of speeds and traffic counts in a number of areas. So he probably is a source for some good information as well.
What about the Route 9 project that was also very, was very combined with all of these efforts that we were putting with the walkable in the village?
What happened was about 2 years ago, we were roadblocked by the state DOT. That's what I said, right? And we were in the process of dealing with that, and then COVID hit. And we are going to be beginning the process of enlisting help and support from our county and state leaders to help encourage the DOT to work with us on it. So it is still there, yeah. And it's being actively pursued. But COVID and everything else that happened because of
We're here to help.
budgetary reasons have delayed it a bit, yeah. But it is, if anybody's interested, there is a website, route9active.org, and that has the plan on it and some information about the steering committee.
Laura Lee, that's what you want to
Yeah,
add?
can I chime in on behalf of the chief of police? Is he here? Rick is here.
Yeah.
Rick has asked me to look at an IMA with the school district for additional crossing guards. We have a lot of coverage issues. The crossing guards can only be under the police department budget. So there's limited funding. And if a crossing guard is ill or sick or unavailable, the police officer, a police officer has to cover. So there's a lot of budgeting and effort that goes into the chief making sure his patrols are covered and the crossing guards are covered and the sites. So he's asked me to look into an IMA so the school could be invoiced for this extra help. So I am working on that with him. And also I just wanted to point out for the committee that this evening includes discussion of a potential local law whereby parking is going to be restricted to a single side of the street. And you'll notice part of the reasoning for that was to encourage shared safe usage of that particular street. So we do look at it on a case-by-case basis. This happened to come up, a question from the residents on the street, but the chief is very willing to go out and make an assessment. In this case, this parking restriction on one side is going to be to encourage the shared safe use of the public street in question. So that's actually good news, and it's a timely topic based upon your presentation. The 20-mile-an-hour speed limit home rule request is caught up in committee, and I believe the traffic committee has taken up the issue with the follow-up questions that the state legislative committees have asked for further detail. So hopefully that can come to pass, but the home rule legislation that we sent up was stalled in the legislative committees, and the traffic committee here in Dobbs Ferry is looking into answering the questions. So there are some things that have been happening actively that perhaps should be just pointed out. That's all. Thanks, Mayor. Sorry.
Quite all right, thank you. And Chief, do you have anything you want to add to this before we move on?
No, Mayor, I do not.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. And like I said, I look forward to you guys coming back. Hopefully we'll have taken some of the smaller steps at least. And if you could, maybe send us information with regard to the sidewalk funding or any other ideas. I will take a look at Hastings. If you have anything that we could look at regarding Hastings, feel free to email it to us so we could take a look at it. Okay. And
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Before moving on, I just want to make some amendments to the agenda. Action item number 2 concerning 23 Manor Place. That's going to be removed from the agenda at the request of the applicant. So if anyone is here with regard to the 23 Manor Place issue, it will not be addressed today. It's being removed from the agenda, and you will get notice of the next time it will be put on our agenda. When I say you'll get notice, it'll be put on the agenda as a normal action item. So please be sure to watch upcoming agendas for that item. But for today, we're not going to speak about it. It's being removed from the agenda. we are adding action item number 7, which is nominating committee has offered various people who are interested in volunteering. We're going to address that. And action item number 8, which is the retaining of a village consultant / interim administrator. Okay, let's move on to our second presentation, which is a presentation regarding our new park mobile system. And I think, Alyssa, you have the floor on that, or is the chief?
Actually, Chief Guevara is going to talk about it. I'm going to share my screen to play a brief demonstration video.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Elisa. Also, several months ago, we'd approached the board about bringing in another option for guests and residents of the village to be able to pay down in the business district in regards to the meters and the municipal lot. So after vetting various vendors, we'd identified Park Mobile, and so we have a quick demonstration on how the app and how the payment system works. I believe we have Lex Bloom from Park Mobile available if there's any additional questions, but this has been a long road, and I just, I wanted the board and the mayor and the residents to be aware that we're looking to begin unrolling this starting next week, putting the stickers on the meters, and again, just providing another option for people in the business district to utilize the meters. So, Lisa, if you just play this quick app video.
Yeah.
Looking for a smarter way to pay for parking? Download the Park Mobile app. The Park Mobile app lets you easily pay for parking right from your mobile device. You'll even get alerts when your time is about to expire, so you can extend your time. You can set up the Park Mobile app in just a few simple steps. First, download the app for your Apple or Android device. Use your email address to create your account. To complete the sign-up process, provide your license plate number and state where your vehicle is registered. Then set up your method of payment. Once you've completed these steps, you are ready to start using the Park Mobile app. When you park at a Park Mobile location, find the zone number for your spot. It will be located on the stickers and signs that you will see around the parking meters. Next, select the amount of time you'd like to park in that spot. Confirm your information and touch the Start Parking button. In the app, you will see a countdown clock showing how much time is remaining in your parking session. You will even have the option to extend your parking session. Park Mobile, a smarter way to park.
And that's what we have. So that's what we're looking to begin implementation next week, and kind of excited that this gives residents another option in our business district. And I had a lot of help. Elisa, Jeff, Lori worked on this, so this was a team effort, and I'm looking for good things from this for the village going forward.
Also, just so you know, we do have a representative from Park Mobile on the line in case anybody has any questions.
So I just have one question. I mean, you can add many cars onto that app, correct? It's not just one vehicle.
That's correct. And actually, if you could promote Lex, Jen, he could probably tell you in detail.
Lex, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Hey,
Okay.
everybody. To answer your question, yes, you can actually activate up to 5 vehicles in a single account. If you hit 5 vehicles, you'll just have to remove one, and then you can replace it with the new one that you'd like to input.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, Donna?
I had to unmute myself, sorry. In the interest of keeping turnover in our downtown, because we need that for the businesses, et cetera. If you can extend time on this app, is there some way that we can restrict it to a certain amount of times that you can extend, or a certain amount, like we have 2-hour parking. Can we set it so that you can't go beyond 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever we decide?
Yeah, the answer is actually, I don't know, Chief, if you were going to answer it, but they have restricted it. So
Okay.
if we have 2-hour parking, they won't be able to extend past 2 hours. Mhm.
Two questions. One might be unpopular, but I'm curious, does this provide information to the, Rick, to the village or to your team as far as enforcement? Where, is there any way to tell whether a vehicle is still there, but time has run out?
Yes, so actually our handheld ticket writers received the software update 2 weeks ago. So there are several ways that parking enforcement and the officer can both scan or search manually by plate, and that will search the Park Mobile database, which will give real-time information onto what vehicles have paid, what vehicles have not, and they can act accordingly based off that information.
Great. And then the second question, it revolves around the economics of this. The prior system that we had seemed to be pretty expensive. Jeff, I don't know if this is one for you with respect to credit card charges. How do the economics of this system compare relative to what we've used historically?
Actually, Lex can probably help a little bit with that. It's going to be, you will have credit card fees. But my understanding is you can actually put, like I think they call it a purse or something like that, where you can put more than just $3 on it. Let's, you know what I mean? You can put like $10, $20, $30 on the app, so you don't have as many credit card transaction fees.
Yeah, I can speak on the fees quickly. The fees with us it's a flat credit card processing fee. So no matter what the driver's actually using as a payment method, whether that be a Chase Visa rewards card, an Amex, it's going to be the same charge no matter what. I can't speak for your existing merchant account and how things are set up, but usually a merchant account will have variable rates dependent upon what credit card that end user's using. With us, it's just a flat fee, and actually will save the municipality cost in the long run. But again, there are still credit card processing charges associated with the system that the village will incur.
And what happens if the charge is greater or would be greater than the amount, if somebody's 15 minutes or whatever? I think we ran into that in the last system where if somebody put it on a credit card, it was more expensive for the village. That charge was above the revenue generated by a very short parking duration.
Yeah, we can actually implement a minimum purchase amount. So that way somebody would have to be required to spend X number of dollars in order to use Park Mobile. That way the village is not getting charged those fees that would exceed the actual parking amount.
So can we do that, and how do we go about doing that?
That's easy for us and Chief and Elisa. We can talk offline about how to get that set up. But
That's
I'm not
actually
sure.
already, I think it's part of our system already.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was too.
Okay.
I assume that the
works,
people
so
without
the-
this app can still access these meters, yes?
Yeah, Park Mobile is just a secondary option. The meters are still going to be there for those who want to use them. This is just another safe and contactless option for those who don't want to carry around change and want to use an app.
That was my question, actually, if it was going to be in a specific kiosk that it was going to be installed in addition to the meters that we have in the streets.
It'll be the system's going to be deploying in the off-street locations where you have those pay stations that service multiple spaces, as well as the single space meters only on the business district.
So Maura, there are going to be stickers on meters. So if you pull up to a meter, you look for the sticker on the meter to see what the zone is, and then you put the zone in there. And in our parking lots, they're going to be on big signs that are installed around the parking lot. So on 99 Cedar, Village Hall parking lot, Oak Street, and Waterfront parking lot. And so everybody will look for the zone on those signs.
Yeah, I'm a regular user of the app. By the way, Lex, it is my favorite out of all of the ones that I have. It is the most user-friendly. And I do believe that there is places where there's kiosks and then there is the signage. So that's why I wanted to make sure that that was the game plan for us. So great. We are very happy. I'm very happy to have you.
Glad to hear that.
Our residents definitely will love the system.
We look forward to it.
And I know part of the reasoning was because it'll help out of town visitors who come to our restaurants and such find some of the parking locations that they might not know about, like 99 Cedar Street.
Good point. Mike, did you have a question?
I was curious about the Trustee Taylor raised a question about the costs, and it sounded like we were talking about it, but there wasn't any actual numbers. So if you know, I wouldn't want someone who's coming to Dobbs Ferry who wants to, you know, put a half hour on the meter to have to pay $4 or something, you know, some amount that is much more than. I guess I don't know how the app works. Maura, you or Trustee Jarza use it, so maybe it doesn't work that way. But that issue just came to my mind, and I was curious what the fees were. What would a minimum fee have to be to cover the issue that was brought up earlier?
With what you just said, Mike, normally the way that I have used it is that if I am in a specific location with a limitation of time, you do pay for a certain number of time, if it's an hour or 2 hours. What I was in the internal element of it, and maybe Lex, that question is for you, is what are the fees that we acquire? Is it a one-time fee for the usage of the parking, or it depends on the amount of time that the person is actually parking in that spot?
Yeah, that's a good question. So every time, just to reiterate, you know, Park Mobile doesn't charge anything for our services. We simply charge a transaction fee. That transaction fee is passed on to the end user. So the village isn't incurring that fee. A good example is if parking costs $1 an hour, someone parks for an hour, they'll pay $1.30 in the app. That 30 cents is what Park Mobile keeps, and then we remit the rest back to the village minus those credit card processing fees, which you guys already incur with your current pay stations and meters. So there's really no difference there. That fee is incurred by the end user.
And the minimum fee for the Park Mobile app, I believe, is $1. So somebody using the app has to pay for an hour.
I think it's like $1.35. I think it's like $1 and something. I will look it up, but I think it's like $1 and a few additional cents that you pay for it.
Right. I think that's what Lex was saying, Maura, that it'll be the $1 plus the 30-cent transaction fee.
Mm-hmm.
Plus a credit card use fee.
No,
the
credit
card.
card.
For the person who's parking, not for the person who's parking. We get.
No, I know, but
charged
then
that.
to the village, then there's
Yes.
a minimum. And what is? Does anyone know what that fee is? Just out of curiosity.
I know the fee. It's 3% plus 15 cents, and that is taken out of that $1.30 transaction. That would be the only cost that the village incurs on a parking fee with Park Mobile.
Okay, so 18 cents on $1,
approximately,
and that's taken out of the 30. Okay, that's good. I didn't want, if it was $3, then no problem.
No,
yeah.
And that's why we put the minimum at $1 or an hour. It's actually cheaper, if I remember correctly, than using the meter credit cards.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry, it's already been thought through. I just didn't realize that. Appreciate it.
Oh, those are good questions. I think we should know that, and that should be put out to them.
Is there some way we can put that wonderful, that cute little video on our village website or someplace so people can access it for instruction?
Yeah, we're going to be putting up, so the signs are going up next week. We don't want to put the information, we're going to be putting it up on the website this week so that people will know how to use it, and including that video. It'll be in the parking section of the police department's website.
Oh, good. Okay.
Can the link be added to the mayor's newsletter?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Lex. Thank you, Chief, Doc, thank you, Alyssa, for all the work that you've done on this, Jeff as well. And let's hope that it's a system. I know that in a lot of communities are using it. So people just have to understand that there is a fee for it. And I think people do understand that once they download the app. So for the convenience of it. So thank you for it. It gives people another option, and we'll see how it goes going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Next item on the agenda is courtesy of the floor. Jen, is there anybody here who would like to speak?
I don't see anyone with their hands raised.
Okay, so let's move to matters requiring action. So action item number 1 is to consider a resolution for site plan approval of 13 English Lane. This has been before us previously. At the outset, I would like to acknowledge an email from Kenroy Roach dated January 3rd, 2021, who is a neighbor who had some questions. And Jen, is there anybody here from the applicant?
Yes, I think Christina's here. Christina, can you hear us? Christina?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Christina, I know this has been before us before. We did receive an email from a neighbor who lives on 17 English Lane,
Yes.
who had some questions and concerns about the construction of the project. And he actually had noticed that there was a colored blue demarcation in front of his yard, which he had some questions about. Can you address the impact of this on the neighbor and what those blue lines are?
I think someone, Andrew Cortese, the owner, might have put those markers up, and I don't know if he's on right now because I don't know exactly why they're there. It could be just to locate utilities, perhaps. I'm not sure. So I don't think I can answer that tonight unless Andrew's on and can do that. I can tell you that this is kind of project that will have some probably be about 9 months to a year of construction, and we will be doing we'll be putting up a fence and doing silt fencing to protect the site and keep it safe from neighboring properties, and it will impact the neighborhood by having a lot of construction vehicles, entering the site down the street. And I think, I think the owner intends to follow all the regulations and ordinances in the village of Dobbs Ferry. So I don't know if that answers his questions, but that's what I have to say about it. It looks like Ed Manley has something to say as well.
I haven't seen what the neighbor's talking about, but I can guess if it's blue paint on the road, before a foundation digging occurs, it would be up to Andrew to call in 1-800-DIG, and that service contacts all of the utilities, who then come and locate and mark out the utilities. So blue would be for water, yellow for gas, and green for the sewer. So you'll see that paint on the street prior to construction.
I think Andrew also told me he was going to locate utilities. I think Ed is correct about that.
Okay, so I know this is going to be really a pretty significant project, so it's really going to be very disruptive, honestly, for the neighbors for at least for about 9 months, correct?
I don't know. You have to give a range for these things. I think 9 months to 15 months, realistically.
Okay. And there is, by code, there are times when work can be done.
Yes.
Can be done before a
Mhm.
certain time and certain after that. So certainly if there's any violation of that, the neighbors should contact the police department or speak to the contractors directly, and hopefully they'll alleviate the problem. So
They can call the building department if they have some complaints. They shouldn't really go to the contractors. You know, the building department will talk to the contractors. But if they experience, you know, people starting before the 7:30 to 6:30 Monday through Saturday or on holidays, they should contact the police department immediately.
I would also like to point out, I mean, you're aware that the ambulance corps building is there and that they do a lot of parking behind their building, which is adjacent to this site. Please make sure that the contractors are aware that that is an emergency service area and they need to keep that path clear.
Yes, I'll make sure the owner's aware of that. I'll make a note of that. Thank you.
And we are in receipt of a letter from the AHRB dated January 15th, 2021, which recommends that the Board of Trustees approve this project. So I know there was an issue that they hope to address going forward, but it's not a contingent part of the approval. So that is for the record, and we note that. Yes, Maura?
I just want to add that in addition to what Donna just mentioned, this entrance to this street is right on Ashford Avenue, intersection almost with Beacon Hill, at a light by where also the pool is. So there is going to be some significant congestion in that area with trucks coming in and out. And not just one, Christina, that, the owner takes that in consideration for safety reasons. We just heard right now a presentation about traffic in our village and the safety of our children. So I highly encourage that they take some precautions and maybe plan on having assistance with managing the construction and the traffic and what is going to go on with that area. Maybe the chief can be a good source of information for them.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I understand, and we'll take that into account for sure. Thank you.
It's a bit challenging.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that you guys did not pick the location, but it is a very dangerous area.
That's a great idea that you just brought up, and the group that just presented had on their list, something just as simple as the convex shaped mirror for tricky intersections, and given that the ambulance corps is built right up to their property line, there's really no visibility for people coming from the right side as you're leaving. So maybe just something as simple as that is the solution.
Yeah, great idea. I'll make a note of that right now, and it's a very good idea. We'll look into it.
Any other questions or concerns?
I just want to point out that one of the conditions in your approval resolution as drafted is that they're going to submit a construction timeline and sequencing for approval with the building department. So perhaps the construction protection ideas that have been thrown out can be included in that timeline and sequencing plan, which is going to be submitted and approved by your building inspector. So, protection and for perhaps the contractors who come in their personal cars to park, not on English, but somewhere else and carpool in. I know that that's a goal that they always look for. And I know Trustee Casal is always asking for carpooling too. So if the contractors are planning to come in personal vehicles, perhaps they can be parked elsewhere, not on English, to minimize that disruption, as mentioned by the resident at the end of the street.
Yeah, we can consider that in our construction schedule plan that we will be submitting.
Yeah. And I also want to just point out that Christina was kind enough to send me an updated table because, as you can see, there was some holes that blanks needed filling in. So Christina was kind enough to do that. And I have sent that table directly to Ms. Draper. So we'll be able to incorporate a completed table into whatever resolution that you pass this evening to be sure that we're referencing all of the sheets and plans on which you're taking action this evening.
Okay, thank you.
And I also did not have an address for the name of the English Townhomes LLC. So adding that to the resolution would be necessary as well.
I see. Do you need that tonight?
You can provide it on the record and then Ms. Draper will have it for the minutes. And then
Okay, I'll send it to you.
When she and I coordinate the final version to put in the
Okay.
minutes, we'll be sure to have it. Thanks.
Okay, sure.
Any other questions or comments before we move forward with this? Okay, so I have a draft resolution approving of the site plan that we've all had an opportunity to review. For the record, I'll read just a part of this resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved that under SECRA, Article 8 of the State Environmental Conservation Law, and 6 NYC-RR Part 617, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Dobbs Ferry has reviewed the EAF and application material and hereby finds that the project is a Type 2 action and is exempt from further environmental review. Be it further resolved that the board hereby conditionally approves the site plan consisting of drawings as set forth below for the property at 13 English Lane. Be it further resolved that the board hereby waives the 25-foot rear setback in favor of a setback of 19 feet 4 inches based on the unique circumstances of the property, including its location on a dead-end street, the proximity of the rear property line, other residential structures, the walkability of the neighborhood, and to accommodate a sidewalk, which the applicant has offered to provide along the property frontage with English Lane as a measure of public safety to benefit pedestrians, residents accessing their units from the street facing entrances, and the sight lines for vehicles accessing the garage. And be it further resolved that the project meets the goals and objectives of the village vision plan by generating an increase in tax revenue to the village and the school district, adding 3 residences in this neighborhood, which will increase the vitality of the area, and providing opportunity of home ownership in a townhouse design, site appropriate landscaping on a current vacant property, and a design having an attractive character, materials, colors, and facades, all consistent with the guidelines and as recommended by the AHRB. And be it further resolved that the following shall be conditions of the approval granted herein. The applicant has agreed to offer the 3-bedroom residential units for sale using the condominium form of ownership. The applicant shall comply with all applicable conditions of the Planning Board Resolution number 13-2020 and any recommendations of the AHRB. The applicant shall submit a complete set of building construction plans to the building department for approval. The within approval shall expire 6 months from the date hereof unless a building permit is issued, with the option of 2 extensions for 6 months each at the discretion of the building inspector. The applicant shall pay a recreation fee of $2,400. 1 fee has been grandfathered and 2 new residential units prior to the issuance of the building permit. The applicant shall pay all village consultant invoices in full prior to issuance of a building permit. The applicant shall maintain escrow during construction and an initial minimum amount of $5,000 with an ongoing obligation to replenish the account at any point when the balance shall reach or fall below $1,500. At the applicant's expense, any engineering plans shall be subject to final review and approval by the village's engineering consultant. And at the applicant's expense, the above referenced landscape plan may be subject to review and approval by the village landscape architect at the sole discretion of the building inspector. The applicant shall provide a 1-year survival bond for the landscaping in an amount to be established by the building inspector. And the applicant must submit a construction timeline and sequencing for approval by the village building inspector. Is there a motion? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Patino. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that passes unanimously, 6-0. So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I hope we'll have a great project in
I hope so.
9 months.
Yeah. 15. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you, Christina.
Bye.
Okay, as I've indicated, action item number 2 is being removed from the agenda. That moves us to the next action item, which is to consider a resolution to schedule a public hearing on February 9th, 2021 to amend Chapter 290 Vehicles and Traffic 29028 on street parking restrictions as recommended by the police chief. We are in receipt of a memo from the chief dated January 12th, 2021, which addresses the issue. It's concerning on Maplewood Avenue. Chief, I know we're just going to schedule a public hearing today, but do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that was brought to my attention quite a few months ago. I had an opportunity to take a look up there along with DPW head Steve Trezza. The concern was that Maplewood is a relatively narrow street, and the south side, while the residents they self-regulate, they tend to park on the north side as well as use their driveways. The resident who initially brought this to our attention had done a poll from the residents to see if they were in favor. And the concern, besides sightline, if and on the rare occasions that cars were parked on the south side along the north side, it prevented emergency vehicles from access along Maplewood off of Scenic, particularly with the fire trucks. I had also brought this to the attention of the fire chief, Ed Marion. He was in concurrence with the thought that since the residents tend to self-regulate up there as well, it may be just a good idea to place no parking along that south side from Scenic to Hollywood, just so that we could potentially eliminate any issues where a fire truck or ambulance couldn't get through if you had vehicles parked on both sides. So that was just that was basically the gist of this, and that's why I brought it to your attention.
Okay, great. So is there a motion to schedule a public hearing for February 9th, 2021 at 6:30 or as soon thereafter as matter may be heard, to consider a introductory local law 1-2021, which proposes to prohibit on-street parking along the length of Maplewood Avenue on the southern side of the street? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. So we'll put that over for February 9th.
Could I make a comment, Vinny? I think this is something that's come up at different points at various places around the village. And Rick, I wonder if, and Jen, you and Ed Barron, the three of you could talk about places that are choke points for, the snow plows and other equipment along with the fire equipment, because there are a number of places where people park. And I've seen it where the fire truck, it might take a fire truck 10 minutes to get through backing backwards and forwards, or the plow can't get through when it snows because of where people have parked. And it really is, I think it's a combination of DPW, the fire department, and the chief to think about areas that have been choke points.
Larry, I had examined the top of Buena Vista and had DPW, fire, and police out there, and all agreed that there should be no parking on the curve at the top of Buena Vista on the west side, and sent it to traffic. I haven't heard from them yet, but I believe they will definitely agree also. So I think Rick will be bringing that back to you as well.
But I guess that, yes, and thank you. But I think that there's probably, as opposed to anecdotally, Jen's nodding her head. Jen, I think you probably know places where you hear from your plow drivers, every time it snows, hey, I can't get through, or where Ed, knows that he's going to have a problem getting his truck around a corner. it's not just one or two places. There probably are half a dozen or more around the village, I would think.
We have that curb on King Street as well on our list.
That's a good point, Larry. Maybe we could do a survey and then move forward with it. Okay, did we vote on this motion? I'm sorry. Liz, did we vote on this already? We did. Okay, great. Action item number 4 is to consider a motion to approve the audit for the Justice Court. Jeff?
Yep, the New York State requires the board to audit the Justice Court on an annual basis. They do recognize that a board may not have the expertise to do it and allow you to hire the CPA firm to complete the audit. They complete many procedures in their audit, their review, and had no findings, no concerns at all. I think they're doing a good job over there. So we're just looking to get this approved so that they can submit it to the state.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept this? Trustee Sullivan, second Trustee DeRozzi, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Just as an aside, Ed and I have met with Judge Kleiningsberg, and we're trying to see if we can make it a little bit more expedited because of the backup due to the pandemic. So we'll see if we could move along the process, because I know we have a backlog of tickets, which I understand we've had forever, but at least I think it's growing. So we are going to address that matter and try to move things along a little quicker.
So to that, Vinny, that equipment has been delivered to the court for the traffic prosecutor to utilize.
Great. So hopefully we can move things along. Action item number 5 is to consider a motion to approve the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer. We have audit number 2 and number 3 for January 2021. Jeff?
Just the regular claims audit. No, excuse me, comments unless there are questions.
Is there a motion? Trustee Taylor, second Trustee DeRozzi, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 6 is to consider a motion to authorize the police chief to purchase a new 2021 police interceptor. In support of that, we do have a memo from the chief dated January 2021, which is requesting an approval of a police interceptor SUV, which I'm glad to see that it's listed hybrid. Although I understand some municipalities have totally electric vehicles. So Chief, you want to speak to this? I know it's in our budget, I think, right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct. It was budgeted for.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we had budgeted this last year. I was looking at hybrid police vehicles. So this is off of the Westchester County contract that I've also attached with this recommendation. As far as electric vehicles, I'm not aware of anyone that's gone completely to an electric fleet at this time. I would caution that maybe too early at this point. There are still some things that have to be worked out logistically, but with this, at least we should get some savings with the police vehicle. That's why I thought a hybrid was the best bet. It is contract-wise a little bit more expensive than a straight gasoline vehicle SUV, but hopefully we'll be able to see some difference in savings in regards.
Is this our first hybrid vehicle, or do we have other hybrid vehicles?
This would be our first patrol use SUV that's a hybrid. I don't know if any other departments have one, but for the police department, it'd be a first.
Oh, I think I read where Hastings has a Tesla police vehicle now.
That is correct. Yeah, they have one that is, it's an unmarked. Tesla's not on state contract. There's also some issues. The vendors are trying to figure out just even a lighting package. There's some issues that, like the glass roof, we would not really be able to put a roof rack on a vehicle like that. Also, that right now they can't figure out how to put a cage in that vehicle. So there's some logistical things. I understand Ford is looking at an electric vehicle possibly as soon as next year. So like I said, we'll keep our options open. I don't like being like one of the first few to transition to something brand new without seeing what pitfalls occur as they work through some of the problems. So, this new purchase would be replacing Radio Motor Patrol 902, which is a marked police car. It's beginning to pick up repairs that are starting to cost. It's out of warranty. And so those are some of the issues that I want to try to avoid as we turn over. I don't want to throw good money towards bad. And so just trying to maintain the integrity of the fleet so that it stays current and they stay under warranty. So I appreciate if you give me permission, that'd be great.
Well, if it's in the budget, I think we're okay with it. So is there a motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? All right, that passes unanimously.
Thank you, everybody. Mayor, do you need me for anything else, or right, can I go shovel my driveway?
You can go shovel.
Standing. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.
You too. Action item number 7 is a motion regarding the nominating committee who have submitted a number of names who volunteered to be part of committees. We want to thank those people. So do we have a motion to appoint Marina Stern to the Conservation Advisory Board, Allison Hendel to the Library Board, and Liberty Barrett to the Library Board? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? That passes unanimously. I want to thank everyone for volunteering. I know there was a question perhaps about someone volunteering for the Parks and Rec Committee, which at this time doesn't have any openings. So I hope that we can find another. I think we have a lot of open committees. So maybe, the nominating committee can work with the applicant to find another committee that she would feel comfortable with.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just make one quick comment, just that the Sustainability Task Force is also actively looking for volunteers at this time. So if that's something that anyone who is watching would be interested in, they can please reach out. There's some information in the mayor's last newsletter about how to do that.
Okay. And action item number 8 is the resolution to enter into a agreement for professional services with Richard Lyons for the position of interim village administrator / consultant. The board has met with Richard, and he has an extensive background. He's a lawyer. He's been a village manager in Ossining and in Peekskill, and we look forward to his being the interim village administrator / consultant. And I think Richard is here. So can you promote him, Jen?
Richard, can you hear us?
We're on mute, Richard.
There he goes. Richard, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So is there something I need to do for the video? I'm just going to turn that on.
There should be something in the bottom left that says like start or stop video. Let's just say start video.
No, but that's okay. I can. Oh, start video?
Yes. There we
you
go.
There you are.
So
know
Richard,
if it's-
welcome, and can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you hope to do?
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. It was great to meet with you all, and I'm taking extensive notes tonight. Okay. So I'm an attorney by training, and Westchester, born and bred, and went away to school and then studied political science and sociology of urban politics and urban government. When I came back, I became involved in Austin. I've been on the planning board, corporation council. I was a town attorney for the town of Austin and Briarcliff, and prosecutor. Ultimately became the village manager in Austin. And at that time, we undertook a bunch of redevelopment. There were several lots in the downtown that had been made vacant by urban renewal and were never redeveloped. So started the ball rolling on that and undertook a bunch of different projects, increased the population of the community. And then after that, I completed 5 years with the Village of Austin as village manager. And then I went up to Peekskill and I was there for 5 years. And during that time, that community already has a artistic vibe that they've been working on for over 20 or 30 years. And unlike some of the other communities in Hudson River communities, larger ones, they populated themselves with artists on the second and third floor of their downtown. So they had a jump on that. And so since then, they've generated a lot of commercial activity. And also, while I was there, we did some infill construction on some lots that have been vacant for a long time. And as I was leaving, we set up a developer to redevelop some significant land that was taken by the community for former dumps and auto graveyards. And so we did that. And then, of course, ultimately, in my last year there, successful to getting the DRI, the Downtown Development Grant from the state of New York for $10 million. So just a lot of interesting projects, and I'm project driven, so I like to jump in and get a problem and then coordinate with the people that are working there and help everybody come to a direction that's the direction of the board and the mayor, and just enjoy making things go forward and forward progress. I enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to joining the team and helping you out on an interim basis. And I'm starting tomorrow, well, God willing.
Thank you, Richard. I just, for the record, want to make sure that it's known that the professional services are really twofold. One is for an assessment of village operations with the advice to the Board of Trustees. And number two is the performance of services as an interim administrator during the period prior to the appointment of a permanent village administrator or an acting village administrator. So I have a resolution. The resolution is as follows: that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement for professional services with Richard Lyons to provide advice to the Village Board of Trustees in connection with the general municipal corporation administration matters such as organization, budgeting, operations, and infrastructure, and the village departments, managers, staff, boards, and committees for a period of transition leading to the appointment of an acting or permanent village administrator. Is there a motion? Trustee Castal, second Trustee DeRozzi. Is there any comments or discussion? All in favor? And that passes unanimously. Welcome, Richard. I especially want to take the time to thank Ed for everything he's done. He's worn 2 hats since I think April, and I want to thank him for everything he's done on this. He's been extremely helpful, extremely knowledgeable. He's been available all the time, and he's certainly someone that I've leaned on. So thank you very much, Ed, for your help and for pitching in when we needed you. So we appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Ed.
I was gonna say yes, thank you, Ed. Like for me, when I had so many questions that I have no clue, Ed was so helpful to me. So I'm very personally grateful for the information that Ed provided during that time. And Richard, welcome. We look forward to pick on your brain significantly and to really to the strong footprint that I'm sure you're gonna leave in that administration.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the minutes. Actually, before we go to minutes, let's go to, I know, Maura, you wanted to have a statement, so let's turn it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As many of you probably already heard, that I have decided that I am not going to run in the next election. I felt that it was important for me to share with the community my reasons behind it. And this was a very difficult decision for me, as you all know how much I love the village and I love being involved. As many of you know, I have two teenager daughters, and one of them is soon going to be transitioning into college. As a single mother, I need to prioritize family during that time. It's going to be very important for me to be home to support her during this process. It's been a great honor for me to serve my community and to serve with this fine board of trustees and the two mayors that I have the privilege of serving with. And it's just very difficult for me to step down. As the first Latina elected, it was very hard for me to let go of the times that we are currently facing, where we are so much encouraging diversity and encouraging new ideas. But I am looking to continue to stay involved. I encourage the community to please get involved. I congratulate those that have stepped forward, that they are running. I encourage others to please join the group. You don't have to specifically run for the board. You can be involved in so many different committees that we have. And we, of course, welcome you and need the help. So to everybody in the administration, I still have one more year to go. We still have a lot of work to do. And I couldn't be more grateful to have the support that I have, not only for the administration, but every trustee and mayor that I have served with. So thank you so much for all of your help. And we're going to have a lot of fun this year.
Thank you, Maura. You certainly will be missed, and we'll go over how much we're going to miss you in the end of the year. But in the meantime, I know you're going to be with us, keeping us, giving us your take on what's important to the village, your dedication to especially the downtown, and you've been brought a whole other perspective, and I appreciate it. And we certainly are going to miss you, but I'm sure we're going to see you at Board of Trustee meetings going forward.
Yes, you will. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Sullivan, all in favor. Minutes are accepted unanimously. And let's just move to the liaison reports. So the nominating committee, is that Christie or is that's Christie, right? I should say, by the way, that Christie is not present. She is excused from attending the meeting, and we miss her. So let's go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is that Christie also? Who's the ZBA? Mike, you are? Okay.
Not anymore. That's me. No, nothing of substance for now.
Okay. Youth Service Council, Maura?
Well, we are currently in the process of hiring a new coordinator. And I believe that we are going to start interviews as of this week. We have received some great applicants. And I know that many of you already heard that we were granted our grant. Jeff, thank you so much for all of your help. I know that you play a big role in that one. And also we are just trying to come up with new ways and ideas of how we can reinvent some of the things that we do. There's a lot of laws and regulations that we have to follow, but we're thinking outside the box to see how we can continue to support our youth in one shape or form during these difficult times with COVID-19.
Thank you. The CAB, Conservation Advisory Board. Who's on that committee?
That's me.
That's fine.
Let's see. I had my first meeting with them recently. It's a great group of people. Thank you, Trustee Cassell, for turning that over to me. There are a few kind of issues, some larger, some smaller, on their agenda. One item that we discussed is a tree removal code amendment. Some members of the CAB are looking at some model codes from around Westchester and more specifically Irvington, I believe Ossining, who have made some important changes to the tree removal code in their communities. So we're looking at that. I think when the CAB is ready, they'll make a presentation to us so that we can look at that. There is a desire to put a trail signage at the Chauncey Trail, and that would be similar to the one at the Juring Estate. I don't know if anyone's seen that. It's sort of, I have a picture on my screen if I'm able to share. May I do that?
Sure. It's up to Jen.
Of course you can.
This is a example of the type of signage that they'd like to install at the new trail. I think it's a good idea. It's part of the place where they want to put it is village property. I think we have to look a little more specifically about exactly size, proportion, and location, and then I think that'll come before us in the near future.
I think that's great because it's like a hidden gem right now. So it'd be great to have some kind of a sign there.
And lastly, we are going to meet with the new village landscape architect at the High Street area and review some, have her take a look and provide a proposal to us for services to improve on that park. And hopefully we'll work with her in a way that a lot of the work can be done by volunteers. And hopefully that space can start to improve little by little as we go forward.
Okay,
that's
great.
it.
Thank you. The AHRB?
That's Christy.
That's Christy. Okay. Okay. Are there any announcements? Trustee Sullivan, can you talk about the ice skating rink?
It wasn't cold enough to freeze over. I thought Sunday was going to do it, but there's still water coming up. So they're working on it. If the weather cooperates this week, it's ready.
Where exactly is the ice skating rink for those of people who don't know where it is?
It's at Memorial Park where the old wading pool was, right in front of the building where the rec commission is now, next to the playground on Palisade Street.
Okay. So we just need some more cold weather before people can use it. Any other announcements? Melissa, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you talk a little bit about the vaccine program with the seniors? Are we still looking for people? The town of Greenberg looking for people?
So the town of Greenberg's program has about 150 volunteers. I don't know that it's quite up and running, but people should know that they're getting prepared. There is no supply right now. So the problem is there needs to be an increase in supply in order for people to be able to secure appointments anyway. So, but that information is posted on our website in terms of if they want to sign up. Our recreation department is collecting names of seniors who are interested in getting assistance. That number is 693-0024. Or if you want to email Paul Feiner to volunteer to support. But in addition to the town of Greenberg's program, Westchester County has a program to help seniors, and that information is also on our website. So will be distributing more vaccine information right now. I just want to clarify that there is a two-fold appointment system set up. On the one hand, those who want to sign up for one of the state-run sites, and the closest and biggest one to us is the Westchester County Center. They go through the state app. The county is now releasing, I believe on a weekly basis, although again, because there's no supply, it's not that useful yet, but it will be soon, we hope, the list of local vaccine distribution sites. But each one of those sites has a different way to get an appointment. So we're going to be gathering all that information to help make it as easy as possible for people. But and we'll post that when we have that assembled.
Great. Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Trustee Sullivan, second trustee Patino, all in favor? Thank you, everybody.
Okay, good night.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night.